Hello, xin chào tất cả bạn. Hôm nay mình đang có mặt tại tiểu bang Texas của Mỹ các bạn nhé. Thì hôm nay mình sẽ đi vào một cái truck, cái này là cái Bentley truck ở phía đường chúng ta lên Houston. Từ San Antonio lên Houston thì chúng ta sẽ bắt gặp một cái Bentley truck như thế này. Và hôm nay thì mình sẽ dẫn các bạn đi khám phá cái Bentley truck này nhé. Sẽ xem bên trong cái Bentley truck này có những cái gì. Thì các bạn có nhìn thấy ở phía sau mình đây là cái Bentley truck các bạn nhé. Thì đây khung cảnh khá là đẹp. Hôm nay thì trời nó có mưa nhẹ, nó có một chút little mưa đấy. Đây là cái Bentley truck nhá. Khả năng bên trong đây là toàn những cái sơn mài nghệ thuật rất là đẹp. Mình thì hôm nay cũng nghỉ nên là đi chơi thôi. Đấy, đi chơi. Và bây giờ chúng ta sẽ đi vào bên trong đây cũng để khám phá cái Bentley truck ở đằng sau mình đây nhé. Một cái truck khá là to này, khá to bự. Ở đây thì xung quanh khu này thì các cái nhà cửa người ta xây cũng khá là đẹp đấy. Thấy đấy, khu này thì cũng khá là ok đấy. Bây giờ mình sẽ đi vào bên trong nhé. Rồi đây là phía ngoài của Bentley truck các bạn nhé. Có những cái cây này, cái mặt trước đấy. Đây nha, chúng ta để đi vào trong nhá. Theo chân mình đi vào bên trong cái truck này thôi. Đây với mọi người để đâu thở. Có một cái ông nó đang hướng dẫn trên kia. Mình thì không dám nói to. Trong đây thì là cái nhà thờ các bạn. Mọi người thì đang ngồi trong đây xem. Các bạn nhìn các cái kiến trúc của nó khá là đẹp. Bên sau đây có một cái chắc mọi người về đây, những cái ngày của Thiên Chúa người ta về đây, người ta sẽ cầu khấn làm niệm. Hôm nay của Thiên Chúa các bạn nhé. Các bạn ngồi nghe cái ông nói nhé. We have a window here dedicated to the keeping of his debt, and the one on the right is dedicated to Abraham when Abraham was challenged by God to sacrifice his son Isaac, when it was just a test. It was not the real thing. You see the angel in green has come down and is telling Abraham, please do not sacrifice your son. This is only a test. Now, as y'all are sitting in the pews, do y'all feel a sensation? Feel like you're sliding forward. Anybody feel like you're sliding forward? That's designed to keep you awake during Mass. This is the third church of the area. They outgrew this church. They was not going to build a fourth church. Originally, the seats came down and they cupped up for a little comfort. What they did, they cut that front bit off. They crowded all the pews really tight. And they added pews. Then when population started to dwindle, they took the extra pews out and put these back where they are now. On the ends of the pews, I don't know if you can see it, but there's numbers. There's numbers on little plates at the end of the pews. That was as an early fundraiser. Parishioners could rent a pew for a certain length of time. They started off in the very back as the most economical seats, and as you move forward up until the front row is the children's pews, they got more expensive.
So if you was wealthy and you wanted to show off, you could rent the front row. Now, the churches we're going to go today, we're going to have a painting technique called throw-pilé. It's French for through your eye. You see the stone that goes around the stained glass windows? All that is paint. The granite columns holding up the arches, that's just wood painted to look like that. And they say the artist used turkey feathers to get that effect. If you look up in the ceiling, you see heavy ribs up there. There's a thin piece of molding up there, but the rest of it is paint to make it look like heavy ribs. Now that ceiling is actually canvas adhered to the wooden ceiling. It's canvas and is adhered to the wooden ceiling. Come around 2005, it was settling down in a lot of places, and the paint was in bad shape from all the humidity throughout the years. Well, they hired a company out of San Antonio. 9 men spent 11 months up there on scaffolding. They would take syringes full of glue, shoot the glue behind the canvas, iron the canvas back to the ceiling, and then they would repaint it. They spent 11 months up there redoing that ceiling. The pipe organ you see in the back, in the choir loft, it is original to the church, and it still functions up there in the choir loft. It's a pipe organ. They still use it. The chandelier you see, that's Czechoslovakian crystal. Came from Czechoslovakia, present day the Czech Republic, and it's a crystal that is very, very pure. All the churches that we have on our tours at one time had a Czechoslovakian crystal chandeliers. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but there are like 32 pagan churches in the state of Texas. What makes it a pagan church is the artwork you see on the inside. We have 5 in our area where we do a multi-church tour. We actually have 6 for ones that are on our list. The others are scattered too far out for people to do a multi-church tour. But there's 32 pagan churches in the state of Texas. Now the altars, the high altar and the 2 side altars, they came from San Antonio, company in San Antonio, and it's no longer in existence. John Seaver's altar company. The high altar is unusual for 2 things. First of all, it's got stained glass in the center. Today's a dreary day, and there's a clear window behind it. On a bright sunny day, when the sun is traveling from east to west, that glass lights up. You can even see the city of Jerusalem behind him at a certain point in the morning. The ring around his head is real bright. The green, the blue, and the red arches underneath his arms, they get real bright at a certain point in the day. We won't have that today because of the gloom. There's got no sunshine. The second part of this altar which makes it unique, if you look at every little spire going all the way to the top, there's either a green or a red candle. They have a tradition here at St. Mary's. At Christmas time, what they will do, they will light all those candles on that midnight mass. They turn all the lights off in the church. Mass is said with only candles being lit on this high altar. Now, since 1910, the same family from generation to generation has taken care of those candles. And there's beeswax in there instead of paraffin, because paraffin would smoke and it would ruin the seal. Now, every Catholic church in our area has 4 common statues, and then they have unique statues like you see here. The 4 common statues are, they will have at least 1 statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary. They will have at least 1 statue of her son Jesus. They will have 1 statue of her husband Joseph. And every Catholic church around here has St. Every Catholic church around here has what they call the perpetual light. That's this light right here. This is a candle. It's got to be a candle. It must be a living flame. They call it the perpetual light. It is supposed to be lit at all times. Okay? What that represents, that the Eucharist is in the tabernacle, and that the Holy Spirit is within the church. Now, growing up, my 5 years of Catholic school, we were instructed pretty severely by the nuns that it must be behind red glass, representing the blood of Christ. Well, the last church we're going to go to today has a clear glass. So when I was started doing these tours, I asked the priest that takes care of that church, what gives is supposed to be red. He said, there's no rule like that. That was just their opinion. But in most Catholic churches, it will be behind red glass. And like I said, it's got to be a living flame. Now, all these Catholic churches we have around here in the rural areas are missionary churches, meaning there's no longer a priest that lives on the ground. A priest from a neighboring parish has to come to say Mass. The priest of Schulenburg is where we started off. He comes and says the 10:15 Mass here on Sundays, and the church is usually a little over half full every Sunday morning. Now, this statue above my head, that is with the angel and the young children. That represents that Catholics believe when a child is born, they are assigned a guardian angel for life. The little boy statue there, so he's a little young for what really happened, but that statue represents when Mary and Joseph went to the celebration in Jerusalem. They were leaving, they were in that large crowd, they couldn't find their son. So they went back to Jerusalem, they went and found him in the temple, and they said, son, you were lost. And he told his parents, no, I wasn't lost, I'm in my father's house. Right after that, there's no more mention hardly of Joseph in the Bible. Scholars think that he died soon after that trip. Now we have two unique statues on here. We have one holding keys and one's holding a sword. That's Peter, St. Peter, and St. Paul. Whenever you see a statue or a painting or a stained glass with a man with a key, that's St. Peter. Jesus gave Peter the keys to the kingdom of heaven. St. Paul. St. Paul's beheaded when Jesus ascended to heaven, and the artist or sculpture will put the instrument of death with the martyr. So he has a sword, that's why he's holding the sword. On the unique statue, we have St. Agnes of Rome. We have St. Teresa of Lisieux, France. You always know with St. Teresa, she'll have a brown dress on, she'll be holding roses and holding a crucifix. She considered herself the flower of Jesus, and she's the patron saint of florists and gardeners. The lady in green, she's St. Cecilia. She's from Sicily. She loved musical instruments. She had a lot of musical instruments at her wedding. She's the patron saint of musicians and poets. The very last lady statue, that's St. Rose of Lima. St. Rose of Lima is from Lima, Peru. She was originally her name was Isabella de Flores de Olivier, but she had real rosy cheeks as a young girl, so her mother nicknamed her Rose. She is the first person to canonize a saint in the Western Hemisphere. Very first. In the back left is St. Isidore. St. Isidore was a farmer, and he is the patron saint of farmers. Moving up, that's St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis of Assisi is probably one of the most well-known saints. He's the patron saint of Italy, and he's also the patron saint of animals. Then you have have a toddler wrestling his face. St. Anthony had a book at a time when books were very, very rare. He kept his notes in his book. One of his students thought they needed the book worse than he did. They stole his book. He prayed that the speaker would have remorse and bring the book back. He did. He is the patron saint of lost people and of lost things. Catholics will pray to St. Anthony when they lose their sunglasses or their car keys or whatever, and the children have a children's rhyme. It goes something like, Tony, Tony, please come around. My glasses are lost and must be found. And then you have St. Aloysius Gonzaga. He's dressed like that because he was a deacon. As a young boy, he got very, very sick. As he was recovering, he heard about the Jesuits, the society of men that followed Jesus. Well, he told his dad that he wanted to join the Jesuits when he recovered. He recovered at the age of 12. His dad was upset because as a Jesuit, he could not have any worldly possessions. His dad was wealthy. He had no way to give him his inheritance. He joined the order at 17 with the goal of becoming a priest. By 19, he became deacon. That's why he's dressed like that. Then a plague hit the area. He was helping the sick people. He contracted the disease himself. He died at 23. He never made priest. He's the patron saint of AIDS victims, AIDS caregivers. Now, the early Christians did not have an alphabet, so they did a lot of stuff in symbols. You see the lilies that are up there, when Ruth kind of makes a curve, lilies stand for peace. If you see grapes with wheat, the body and blood of Christ. On this side, you have the three roses. That represents the three most common mysteries of the Rosary. Glorious, the joyful, and the sorrowful mystery. And then you have the pelican, hard to see. The story goes of one of the pelicans, she could not find enough food for her chicks to keep them alive. She actually takes her beak, pricks her breast, bleeds, and she keeps her chicks alive with her own blood. That represents Jesus dying and bleeding on the cross to save mankind. All the churches around here keep their churches up with an annual fundraiser. They call them picnics. What it consists of, the parishioners will make a plate lunch for sale to either eat on the grounds or to take home. They'll have auctions, they'll have raffles, they'll have games for kids, they'll have games for the adults, they will have lots and lots and lots of beer sales, and then they will have a polka band for dancing. Here in High Hill, they do theirs on the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. They do between 4,400 and 4,600 plates of fried chicken. That's amazing, but it's also amazing. That's the same weekend that Fayette County, the county people got together and they said, Mr. Railroad Man, thanks but no thanks. We don't want a noisy railroad coming through here. We are a peaceful little town. We like our peaceful way of life. A steam locomotive would just destroy our peaceful little town and our peaceful little life. Well, 5 men from what is now Schulenburg heard about this. They went to the railroad. They said, look guys, I heard that high hill turned y'all down. We would love for y'all to come to our area. We will give you right of ways. We will sell you land very cheap for your people in your water station. So that's what the railroads did. They came to Schulenburg and the first passenger train stopped on December 31st, 1873. The passengers would get out, stretch their legs while they refilled the engine with water. This was steam locomotive. Well, these 30 merchants started waking up and realized that's where all the traveling money is at. That's where the new money is at. These people are off the train, they want to spend their money. So slowly, each merchant shut down their stores here in High Hill. Most of them put logs underneath their buildings, and with oxen, they pull their buildings to what is now the buildings there around Schulenburg at the railroad tracks. So it wasn't the train coming through High Hill that destroyed High Hill, it's the train bypassing High Hill that destroyed High Hill. It was a bad move on their part. They lost all their businesses.
Rồi thật ra thì cái này thì mình cũng không theo đạo nên mình cũng không biết người ta nói cái gì cả, nên là thôi thì mình đi ra đây mình quay cái cảnh ở bên ngoài cho các bạn xem nhé. Đây là cảnh vật ở bên ngoài của cái truck này các bạn nhé. Cùng đi theo mình. Đấy, thì đây là cái bên ngoài nhé. Đấy. Cái này thì nó làm cũng khá là lâu, từ 1906 các bạn. Tường khá là lâu bền nhé. Đấy. Và nó này xây bằng đây là gạch giã các bạn nhé. Đây phía bên ngoài đó này, cái này thì nó là có hình thánh giá ở kia. Bên này thì cái này ngày xưa khá là lâu đời mà xây dựng được như thế này là cũng quá hoành tráng rồi. Quá hoành tráng mà từ cái khi mà nước Mỹ nó bắt đầu thành lập cách đây khoảng có 400 năm mà đến bây giờ thì được như thế này là cũng khá là ngon rồi các bạn nhé. Đây là xung quanh cái khu này thôi, không thì là cái khu nhà thờ painting đấy, các bạn thấy nó được vẽ, được sơn cũng rất là đẹp. Thì bạn nào mà có dịp mà ghé thăm cái đường đi từ San Antonio mà đi đến Houston nhá, giữa đấy thì giữa cái đoạn đường ấy thì các bạn ghé qua cái nhà thờ này để xem nhé. Mình thấy nó cũng giống Đà Lạt mình ấy, khá đẹp cái đường đi vào ấy. Những cái farm rất là to. Rồi mình sẽ quay cảnh vật cho các bạn xem luôn nhá. Rồi ở đây cũng là một cái chắc khác so với trắng lúc nãy các bạn nhé. Chắc này thì nó màu, chắc này thì nó màu trắng, nó khá là to đấy. Này, khá là bự. Thì mình thấy ở khu này khá là nhiều truck xung quanh khu này. Thì mình cũng không vào bên trong nữa. Mình sẽ đi vòng đây để cho bạn xem nhé. Đây phía trước nó, đây là phía trước nha. Đấy, chắc này chắc này màu trắng, còn cái chắc lúc nãy nó màu gạch. đỏ. Mọi người đang vào vào bên trong để xem. Lát nữa thì mình sẽ đi vào trong cho các bạn xem nhé. Mình đang đứng ở ngoài, nó khá là to và đẹp. Để đi vào trong xem. Ngoài kia thì có các cái gọi là cái thánh giá, chắc là chỗ của đạo tiên mà người ta mất, người ta sẽ ở đây. Trước mặt là có một cái sông, dòng sông chảy xung quanh phía bên này. Mình đi vào xung quanh đây xem trước khi vào. Không có gì cả, cũng như bên kia đây. Phải đi vào bên trong xem. Đây là bên trong. Đây có cho Giêsu. Henry. Nói chung là liên quan đến đạo thôi mọi. Cái này là biết lịch sử này. Đây là phía bên trong. Đây có rất là nhiều sách có thể đọc ở đây. Chạy nhạc, hát, chung là sách. Đây là những người ký tên ở đây. Cấu trúc bố trí thì nó tương tự.
Then in 1909, a Category 3 hurricane hits the Texas coast. By the time it comes up here, strong winds, but it knocks down the church. They rebuild and they have a second church by the end of 1910. Then in 1917, the farmers are working in the fields. They see smoke coming out of the church. The church is on fire. The men rushed in here. They got the Stations of the Cross out. They got the statues that were in here at the time. They got them out. But then the fire got so hot they couldn't get anything else. The fire was so hot
Giờ đây là một cái nhà thờ thứ ba, nhà thờ khác mà mình muốn quay cho bạn đây nhé. Đây là phía bên ngoài của cái nhà thờ này. Sunday mở 9 giờ. Bây giờ mình sẽ, đây là phía ngoài của cái nhà thờ này nhé. Mình sẽ đi vào trong nhé. Đi vào bên trong cái nhà thờ này. Thì cái cấu trúc của các loại nhà thờ này mình thấy ngoài đều thánh giá. Phía bên nó đặt phía bên phải. Đấy. Mình sẽ đi sâu vào trong nhé. Rồi. Cái này thì từ 1911 các bạn nhé. 1911. Đây, phía bên trong.
Say, you know what? These angels and all these stars, all this stenciling, all these flowers, they're so 1800s, we need a change. They had the entire interior whitewashed with beige paint. Everything you see up in the ceiling is now beige. Well, fast forward 30 years to the 1980s. There's a parishioner by the name of Ed Yanechka. Ed, as a young man, left Davida. He went to Houston, made his fortune. He's back now as a parishioner with his family. Prior to the whitewashing of covering up with the beige paint, he was an altar boy. But he did not pay attention during Mass. All he wanted to do was look at the angels that are up there. He always was watching the angels. Well, it's 30 years after the whitewashing. He can kind of remember where the angels were. He takes it upon himself to go up there with paint remover. Gently removes the outer layer of that beige paint. All 6 angels he exposed. The parishioners came in here and said, you know what, as a church project, let's do the entire interior. And that's what they did. All the views went into the church hall. They scaffolded out the church. They did hire a few paint contractors. But by and large, each parishioner took a section. They would go up there with paint remover, take enough paint away so they could see the color and the design behind it, and then they would paint over it. Okay? So what you see today is what you would have seen in the 1911s, except for one thing. Originally there was 2